All right, let's go ahead and talk about primary productivity in Module 6. So again, you need to understand photosynthesis and respiration. Oh, and I think I said back in Module 4 that you need to know the equations for photosynthesis and respiration. Here they are. All right, and so make sure that you understand those equations. But primary productivity is going to involve photosynthesis and cellular respiration. So we're going to be talking about each of these terms. Essentially, we'll make sure that you've gone through and you've read all of this, first of all. Again, I'm not going over all of the notes with you. I just want to keep reiterating that because some of you might try to just listen to me and not read the textbook. Do your reading, okay, and take your notes from the reading. So primary productivity is the rate of capturing the sun's energy. We have two different types of primary productivity. We have gross primary productivity, which is the total amount of energy that's captured by predators, or I'm sorry, not predators, by producers. And so what this means is that all the sunlight that is taken in by any plants or algae or bacteria is what we call gross primary productivity. Then we have net primary productivity, which is the gross primary productivity minus the energy it takes for producers to go through respiration. Because remember, plants and producers, all producers, go through respiration as well. It's not like you either go through respiration or you go through photosynthesis. Everything goes through respiration, and then some things also go through photosynthesis. And so we have to take the total amount of energy that they captured from the sun and subtract the energy they used to break down glucose and get energy from that glucose, and then that's what we call net primary productivity. We can also think about this, many of you probably have had your first paychecks already, you've had a job, your first job, you're getting a paycheck, and if you look at your paycheck, you've got a gross amount of pay. That's how much pay you make per hour. You can take your hourly rate, or I'm salaried, I can take my annual salary, and that's going to be, I can divide that by 12, and then that's my gross pay every month. Now, on top of my gross pay, I have different things taken out. Insurance, taxes. You all deal with taxes. Social Security comes out of your paychecks. So various things come out of your paychecks, and what you're left with is what the bank calls your net pay. And your net pay is substantially less than your gross pay. And that's a good way to remember gross primary productivity and net primary productivity. All right, this is how you calculate NPP, GPP, and respiration. We can actually measure respiration. We're gonna be talking about that in a lab that we're going to do. But we can calculate NPP by using this simple equation right here, NPP equals GPP minus R. You need to be able to do this. I would actually work through this do the math problem and make sure that you can actually do that. Figure 6.3 is an important figure to know. It's going to tell you that where all of the sun's energy goes. And I think an interesting fact here is that only about 1% of solar energy that hits the planet is actually captured by photosynthesis. So producers are only capturing, the GPP is only about 1% of all the solar energy that actually hits the planet. So I find that interesting, okay? With primary productivity, you need to know in general which biomes are highly productive. Productive in terms of how much energy they're producing by producers or through photosynthesis. All right, so if we look here for terrestrial biomes, we have tropical rainforests are going to be the most productive, and the least productive would be a desert. That makes sense. And then most productive aquatic ecosystem is kind of shocking. A lot of people think it's a coral reef. Actually, it's a swamp and a marsh. So it's the areas that are, they're part of wetlands. A marsh is going to be more salty water because it's along oceans. A swamp is going to have more fresh water. But basically, those are the most productive, those are the two most productive ecosystems on the planet, with swamps and marshes actually being much higher than even a tropical rainforest. So that's pretty shocking. And then the least productive aquatic ecosystem is an ocean. Okay, that's it for Module 6. I'll see you next time for Module 7.